Well, we returned back to Austin from Bilderberg 2008 in Chantilly, Virginia, to the scene of the Texas governor's mansion, very historical, burning, large portions of it inside and up to the roof, and the whole front facade, we're on the backside here, have been really damaged. The media is reporting fires upstairs, fires downstairs that started on the front entry doors. Very, very suspicious, because I've been down here at many protests, many demonstrations. I've come down here just to shoot video for films like Endgame, when Governor Perry went to Bilderberg, of the facade of the building, and we've had them run across the street and ask while we're videotaping. I've been at the back gate for 2 minutes taping and had state police come over and say, why are we there? We've been driving by before shooting video for a drive-by, for that pan shot, and had them run out in the street and stop us. Some trees have as many as 4 cameras in them alone, videotaping every area. But instead, we've had this fire. More than a day has passed. They haven't released any footage. They say they know it's arson, but there's normally a big wrought iron fence with spikes on it. Now they have an added fence, construction fence around that. So how did somebody get in around the security? You've got more state police based in the Capitol Police across the street from the state police. You got the sheriff's department right here in Travis County right behind. There's just police cars and law enforcement everywhere. You can come up here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. There are police cars, state police cars, feds, everything down here. Sheriff's department swarming this area. But between 15 and 20 minutes is what it took after a gentleman who'd been down at the bar seeing some music, came up with his wife and saw it burning, who we're going to interview later. I mean, just amazing, very, very suspicious. You know why? DPS has now been given an order from the state to shift its main function to fighting terrorism, the non-existent boogeyman, i.e. harassing the people, secret police. Again, this area is crawling with state police, feds, sheriff's deputies. The sheriff's department's based right here in the building, 5 feet from us. This whole building here is garrisoned with state police. That's their surveillance rooms up there with the 50-plus cameras in and around the governor's mansion, cameras up and down every street, cameras all over the Capitol. The state police that were literally 200 yards away at the Capitol responded after the fire department did within 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, after a call got in, it took 15 plus minutes for them to get here, and the state police arrived after, really standing down. This is very suspicious. And we know they've been garrisoning state police in there, even though the governor hasn't been living in the mansion while it was renovated. So where were they? There are cameras on the front door. There are cameras all over this area. We're gonna go talk to folks and find out what happened here with all the anti-terrorism stuff that's going on, with the fact they're trying to convert the state police into an anti-terror force as their main mission. The state police have been resisting that. If we see them the next few days hype this as terrorism, or claim that some polygamous cult did it, or claim that that white Al-Qaeda did it, if we see that come out of them, it gets more and more suspicious. But the fact that they stood down, the fact that normally we come out here and we videotape for films I've made, or when we're protesting Perry, or for Endgame, and you walk up to the back gate and state police come down and ask what you're doing. We've been driving around here before at night, had state police run out and ask us why we have cameras in our cars in seconds, okay? You're walking up and down the street, the state police come over to you. But this time, they are conveniently absent. Where were the police watching the surveillance tapes? Where were the state police? This thing stinks. Just conveniently, everybody was gone that day. And then it took 18 minutes for people to get here. That ought to be good for DPS and their new mission of fighting terrorism, which means fighting the American people. Very suspicious. Very suspicious.
That is bizarre that how somebody got in there.
My name is Kenny Lane. I've been an Alex Jones listener for about 3 years now, and my personal opinion about this whole thing is that it stinks to high heaven. I personally think that Alex Jones had been off at the Bilderberg, investigating the Bilderberg meeting up in Virginia, and just ironically, right as he returns from the Bilderberg meeting Sunday morning, this happens. I don't think it's coincidence at all. I think it's totally a setup. Yeah, I think it was arson, but I don't think it was done by a lone individual. And it is the possibility. I'm not going to say 100%, but I personally think that it could be used to be blamed blamed on the Patriot movement and the 9/11 Truth movement to make 9/11 truthers look like we're paranoid conspiracy theorists when we're actually opening up the can of worms that they don't want us to open.
My name is Alonzo Perez, and I was the first one on the scene to witness and make the call. I was coming from 6, like around 1:30 I left, and I got here about 10 minutes, about 1:40 I made the call. I saw the fire start from well, it was like 10 feet high, and it grew, and I was on the phone with the dispatcher for about 10 minutes. I said about a good 10 minutes, you know, and I didn't hear no sirens, nothing, and I was just disappointed at everything, you know. It's just, you know, how come nobody's here, you know? I didn't hear nobody respond, like far as sirens or anything. I was sitting here just waiting for, you know, somebody to show up and put the fire out and ask me questions. You know, when I seen it, I was ready to talk, you know. You know, nobody showed up.
Did it seem like a long time?
Yeah, well, far as the mansion being on fire, yeah. I was sitting there freaking out, you know. I was disappointed. I couldn't do nothing about it, you know. But sit and watch it burn, you know. That's messed up, man. You know. Usually, you know, it'll be here quick, you know. Fire trucks came, and then right behind the fire trucks, then DPS. Then I saw DPS. Then APD. They just started trying to put the fire out. Nobody asked me no questions, nothing. I sat for about 10 minutes and I walked off.
Do you find it strange that there weren't any DPS at the Capitol? They're normally there.
I find it strange there was no security, period, you know. The security should have caught it before I did, you know. Obviously he was asleep, or like I say, you put your guards down, that's what happens of anything, you know. I mean, it makes you wonder, you know.
Makes you wonder about what?
Everything. From, I don't know, you know, it's just.
Well, you don't think somebody in the government started the fire, do you?
I don't know, man.
You know, the DPS wants all this anti-terror funding. Have you heard about that? They want to shift their main mission into anti-terrorism.
I watch all the, I watch all the time, bro. You know, but like I say, I'm not saying that government did it, anybody did it. I mean, it's crazy, Alex. It makes you wonder, man. I mean, things going on now. Hey, man, like I say, I don't put nothing past nobody. I don't care who it is.
So you live think around something's here? Suspicious? You think the circumstances are suspicious? I
mean, I've heard, but I thought about it, but like then again, we don't know. We don't know.
Did you know that there's usually DPS garrison in that side house?
In the daytime, when I pass through here, yeah, but I'm not, you know, like I say, I haven't been in this area in a while, you know.
So you see DPS here in the day, but you didn't see them that night?
Not when the fire was going here. You know, how could anybody climb a fence like that and, you know, start a fire? I mean, or throw anything across the fence that far, you know, and start a fire like that. I mean, you know, without the flame going out, and like I say, with a strong arm, I don't know. Like I say, I don't know.
And then conveniently, there's no state police around. And they talk about how they're going to reorganize for terrorism, and then magically this happens, and you've got Perry's, a member of the Bilderberg group. The whole thing's very, very suspicious. Is it a lone nut throwing a Molotov cocktail who can throw it 50, 60 feet? Then the question is, where was security? Why didn't they come out? The state police didn't show up till after the fire trucks. This whole thing just amazingly suspicious and stinks to high heaven. We're not saying the state police are involved. We're not saying that the low-level guys out here that we're going to talk to are involved. We're saying higher-ups need to be looked at first, because over and over again it ends up being government that does this. And we're going to find out in the next few days if they hype this and say it's terrorist, or say it's anarchist, or say it's, you know, the polygamist, or God knows what, because they kept saying they're worried about terrorism with them. Then this thing really, really stinks to high heaven. Or was it a lone nut, or some lone psychiatric patient in government care? Or will they blame some lone nut? The point is, as usual, security's not there that day when they're here 24 hours a day. As usual, the cameras and surveillance don't do anything. When there are people across the street at the Capitol watching all these surveillance cameras, they're inside that little house. It's actually a large structure en masse, and they weren't there this time. So here's some of the footage and the questions, and we're just asking questions.